Welcome to the Two Literal Podcast, where we're talking all things fantasy, romantasy, romance, and dark romance books. It could be the latest releases, timeless classics, book news, and anything in between. So grab a drink, some snacks, maybe a book, and if we're live, a phone to call in, because Two Literal is on. Welcome back to Two Literal Podcast. I am Ricki, and this is Tashee.
Hi, everybody.
We are back with another episode, and we just finished up Ruthless Boys by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. This week, we'll be taking a break from the Solaria series before we go into Zodiac Academy, and we'll be bringing you guys kind of a mini-series that I personally liked. It was my pick this time. But first, Tashee has some exciting news for us.
So I just got back from Scotland. It was fun. I have pictures to show everybody. This is some castle I went to. I can't remember the name. I want to say it's called Black something. But it was really, really pretty. And all the water was pushed away. Like it was boats sitting on stencils. What am I thinking of? I don't know, on wooden planks, but all the water was way far out. So, and the shape of this one, because it's always rainy and foggy in Scotland, when enemies would come, they would think it was a big ship. They thought it's shaped like a ship. It was really pretty. I saw some really pretty houses that had this is the Scots monument is so dope. It's super gothic and it has all the green, I don't know, moss on it. You can climb to the top, but Scotland was a lot of walking anyway. They couldn't get me to go up those stairs too. Walking. We had houses that just grew flowers on the top of it. I just thought it was pretty. I don't know what this was other than somebody's house, but it was the only one like that we passed. So I had the front and the sides. And
so all that was one house?
Yeah, because everything's 18th century. There are no standalone houses, and if you do have them, they're rock, not brick, but rock put together. So all the ones you think of when you think of the UK, everything looks like that. It's actually we stayed in a B&B. It was old Victorian. I had to carry 3 suitcases upstairs. It was beautiful. Just a lot of work, a lot of walking. And the final picture is Edinburgh Castle. We actually got to go in there, but the day I went in there, obviously it rains a lot there. This was actually a better day. It was actually raining this day too, but not the way it was when we actually went in the castle. I just want to let you know that I hiked all the way up to that castle. You see this vast difference from where I'm taking the picture. I hiked all the way up to that castle.
Good job.
I don't know if it was good, but it was done.
What are some of your highlights from the trip as far as, because it was actually a book conference, right?
Yeah, so I went to Rare Edinburgh, and look, this is so inappropriate, but I'm going to show you anyway. I got a finger penis. You see it?
Why is that a thing?
And
especially
it's rubber too,
I feel like fantasy readers or dark romance, or romantasy readers, the random penis objects are a thing, and I don't understand it.
It's so funny, I guess, because it's just a joke. But I even had how you have lanyards when you go to conferences and stuff.
Yeah,
I have a little ribbon you can put on it, and it says "I love dicks." Funniest thing ever to me to walk around.
Do you think that's a feminist type statement that you feel like some readers or authors try to make? Because I've seen dinosaurs and then the heads are penises, or
I don't know. I guess it's going to be a per person thing. I tend to lean towards the comedy end of things. Do you know how often we walked past one of these and I was like, oh, I want to get one, but I don't want to go to their table if I'm not buying anything or getting anything signed. And I was going through my stuff yesterday. They're because it's a lot of trading that goes on. People make little gifts to trade with one another. And I was going through the little bags that some people had gave me, and it was one in there. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I wanted that. Look at it.
That is so funny. Penis. Now, I know that specifically in Zodiac Academy, that was a theme because of a specific person, but you see it even outside of that. So I always wonder what that was about.
Maybe because we read smut. Maybe that's just what it is. It's a lot of penises involved. Yeah.
That's so funny.
And I got a couple of other things this exciting Kindle cover. It says like
Yeah,
morally gray, enemies to lovers, stalker. You know, it was pretty nice. And my cup.
I saw that. I was wondering.
It says judging men by the standards of my book boyfriends. I thought it was funny. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
it was it was nice. And I got to meet Tate James and Ivy Asher. They were
Hmm.
super duper nice. But yeah, fun trip, fun trip. I got a little bit of reading done, but not on the series we're covering today. I
Okay.
read I was reading Immortal Dark.
Hmm.
It's pretty great. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's giving very top tier. It's one of my favorite new reads. I think I'm about 2 hours from finished, but I had to get this series in.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what I'm currently reading.
Is Immortal Dark a series or is that a standalone?
I have not finished, but I'm hearing that it is a series.
Gotcha.
I haven't confirmed.
I have been slacking, honestly. There's a lot of stuff that just came out that I still have not even attempted to touch because I've been trying to finish up these rereads and then also the Academy. We know how big of an endeavor that is. So I'm just kind of trying to
Mentally
pace myself.
preparing.
Yeah. Plus, football season is here. I have two football players in my family, so it's been a lot. So this week we will be discussing some dark romance. It's a series, mini series. It's two books: Heart of a Monster and Love of a Queen by Shain Rose. I don't even know how I think that Heart of a Monster was one of those that was one of the free during a Fill Your Kindle Day type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I found it. And one day I was like, I don't have anything to read. That's what happens. I fill my Kindle with all of these books. If you guys don't take advantage of Fill Your Kindle Day, you are missing out. Because I actually have found, especially if you want just a breather from one of your series that may be a longer one, and just want something different for a change, that's kind of how I do. I'll be like, I need a break, and I'll just go through and see what I've already purchased for free on one of those days. So this was one of those. But I actually kind of enjoyed the story. The female character in it, the main female character, is actually a woman of color, which we rarely see, especially in these. This is a mafia romance or fantasy. I don't think Tashee liked it as much.
I did not.
I didn't
I'm
think you
not.
did.
I did not. I'm sorry. I didn't finish, but I was about 40 minutes from finished. So I feel like I got fairly close. I feel like I can have an intelligent conversation about it. I might finish it for the sake of adding it to my list of completed books for the year because it's only 40 minutes. But
Yeah. So what did you not like about it? Was it just not
okay.
compelling enough? Did you not like the themes of the book?
Okay, so I don't think I lean too heavily into mafia and mob romances anyway. I don't know why. They're just not
Mm-hmm.
really my jam. But also, um, it felt chaotic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, everything made sense for sure. It just
Mm-hmm.
felt chaotic. I don't know. It felt a little afterthought-ish. Like it just because I did notice that her friends, their significant others, actually have series two with Shain Rose.
Mm-hmm.
The Stonewoods. Did I say that
Mm-hmm.
right?
Stonewoods.
Yeah, they have their own series and things like that. I don't know. It wasn't my jam. It wasn't horrible. I didn't like dislike any character,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe it was too short for the amount of like changes in the plot.
Stuff that went on. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot that went on in this. So what this book is about, and first I want to lead with some of the trigger warnings because there are a lot, I feel like, in this book. You have suicide was a topic, essay was a topic, murder because it's a mafia romance, so they're very heavily
Minor
invested in.
essay too.
You think it's
No.
minor?
I mean, when she was with that one dude in the foster home, she was a minor and he was trafficking her.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. I thought you meant like there was only a little bit. I felt like
No,
that
no,
was
no,
a
no,
big
no, no,
like
no. Like
theme in this book.
underage. Underage
Yeah,
minor.
gotcha. Yeah, so that sex trafficking, so just like you said, that was a big theme. But I think that is a topic that I myself am passionate about, and maybe that's why I liked this book because the main female character, that was like her self-proclaimed goal in life was to try to stop this in her area or in the world. And yes, she was part of a mafia, and there are a lot of other things that were like There's a lot of other illegal activities going on, but sex trafficking specifically is where
Was
she
the one
drew the
she was
line.
passionate about ending for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And it was, I feel like that was the case even before she became a victim of it herself.
You know what my problem is probably?
What's that?
After all of our fantasies, it was just giving reverse harem, and then it wasn't a reverse
It
harem.
wasn't.
Like,
So when you said that you like Bastion, that's why I didn't say anything, because I figured that you were thinking it was going to turn out to where she was with more
no,
than one
I
person.
know, no, I read the blurb, so I knew who the focus was on, but also just like from reading anyway, only one man had a POV, so obviously it
Yeah.
can only be the one guy. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying it would have made sense. I mean, I guess it wouldn't have made sense. They were cousins and brothers. So like, no, it wouldn't have made sense. But on the flip
But
side,
no, I've read some where they were siblings, and like there is one
you
draft. What is
have.
the name of it? I have. And the woman actually ended up with all four of them, I think, but they
Was
were
it the
like
never
brothers.
after thing?
I can't remember. I will have to
There's
find
like
it
the
and
Peter
text it to
Pan
you.
retelling situation.
No, no, no. No, it wasn't
See,
anything like that.
and my problem is I don't like smut books that are just smut. Like, I need a decent storyline. Not that it
Yeah.
wasn't decent, but like especially like real world books in particular. Like this
Yeah.
scenario where my ain't no black girl about to be the head of the Russian mob. Like, get out of here. Even if you
But he didn't
have,
want her to
but
be. And maybe that's another thing, because like I said, this is one of our first ones, specifically in this genre, where the main female or main character period was a person of color. And you always talk about how you feel like some of the people of color that we do read about always have like a quirk to them, like something is always off about that person. And here we have one there, was it?
what wasn't off? I'm sorry. Excuse me. What was normal?
I'm saying though, she ended up like being victorious in the things that she set out to do. That's all I mean.
Oh,
She found her
okay.
person,
If
you
that's
know.
what you mean, then yeah, cool, fine. You're right. I was about to say, but it was given Disney character because like Disney characters are not allowed to have two parents when they're a main character. Think about it.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to.
No, I agree with that.
So, but
Um,
it was given Disney character, and then everybody lying, and then I mean, her being upset that Mario died, but he basically was like, "Yeah, I'll put her in a shitty foster home,
yeah.
and I do it again." We got her, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like it was like, okay, but I don't know. It wasn't bad. I like I said, I still think I'm gonna finish it, and I'll be able to
Hmm.
say I read it. It just wasn't. It was meh.
I do feel like there are a lot of storylines and character development that we didn't get to see just because it is a short series. Between the two series, what was it, 16 hours? I mean, two books, wasn't it 16 hours
15,
total?
probably 15
Something
ish.
like that, yeah. So we didn't really get to it's like they would jump in between things that we missed. And even then, I don't really see a big change. The only change that I saw is that they finally like admitted that they wanted to be together and did what they had to do to be together. I don't feel like there was anything where each of the characters actually became better people or different people.
You know what else I hated?
What's that?
Sometimes especially listening, and didn't have like I didn't download the book for reference, but listening, sometimes they would just like do a flashback, and you would get no
Yeah,
like
like context or
yeah warning or anything that it was a flashback. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? What? We
yeah,
were not talking about that a minute ago. Yeah, so, and I didn't like that some of the flashbacks flash back to previous parts in the book because I'm like, did the book restart?
yeah,
Like them being in the bathroom having the conversation about how she needs to get out, and then
yeah,
the story started, and then we go back to that conversation. It can.
yeah,
I think if I was reading, it'd been fine because it'd probably been italicized and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
just listening, it was like, wait, what did my phone? Like I'm listening on my
But
headphones.
I
Like, what?
honestly, I actually read the books first. I didn't listen until I was doing the reread. So most times when I'm reading, I have one that I'm physically reading, I mean on Kindle,
Mhm.
and then I have one that I'm listening to because I'm typically listening at work. I'm going back to see because I don't think the prologue was, no, it was italicized. And in the book, like when you're reading, it says prologue, so you know that this is like leading up to the story. But so by the time you get to the flashback, you're like, oh, well, this is how we got here. And I think that was the reader's point in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been, and it could have just been what, because normally like with audiobooks it says prologue. Even
Yeah.
if you don't read like what chapter you're on when
Yeah.
looking at the audiobook, it starts with like prologue. If it did say that, I didn't hear it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that happened on like two occasions, and I was like, wait, what? What
Mm-hmm.
happened? So, but it wasn't bad, and she was not an intolerable main character, and I feel like we cover a lot of female characters that are almost
Or
stubbornly
intolerable.
intolerable. With that being said, I would just like to point out that her and Elise are the only non-intolerable main characters I can think of right now.
Is that why you wanted to be a reverse hero?
Who? Elise? Or
No,
no?
with this one,
Oh
with
no.
Katie.
I think sometimes, okay, when reading books, because in my head all fiction is fantasy, but not like
Mm-hmm.
necessarily magical fantasy.
Yeah.
But you need like a dose of realism in there. I just don't see in real life how you could cross certain lines between family members, like kissing and stuff, and it
Mm,
makes sense and it be forgivable, redeemable, and okay,
yeah.
especially if we have more of a real world element. And I'm not saying that like, okay, people kiss all the time, YOLO, it happens, but like it just for the environment that we were reading, it just kind of
Mm-hmm.
didn't make sense to me. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. I'm just saying it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I think that the problem or the part that I had to remember about that specific part of the book is that these people don't form relationships outside of their inner circle very often. Like even her friends that she met pretty much pressured Rome into becoming friends with, like all of them were intermingled. Rome had a relationship with one of those friends, and then that friend ended up marrying his business partner because it's like they don't open up to very many people anyway, you know?
Yeah,
So I feel
but
like there's
even
a
that
lot
was
going to be a
like
lot
luck
of
of the
commingling in
draw.
there.
That was still
Yeah.
like luck of the draw because her and that friend met in high school. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And she happened to marry into a family that they do business with. That's still like super luck of the draw. And even then, it kind of made sense because the friend said that she felt like Rome was pushed to her by Kat. So
Katie. Yeah.
like, or Katie, my
Hmm.
bad. By Katie.
She has a lot of nicknames in the book, though.
You know, Kate Bait is kind of crazy though, and the fact that she let him continue to call her that
I
after
was,
she became the boss.
you know,
Wow, wow.
on the second read, so Katie in the book is the main female character. In the beginning of the book, we see her with her dad. Her dad is sick. He has Parkinson's.
Yes.
He has Parkinson's, so he's sick. And he doesn't want her. She doesn't know what's going on with this family. She just knows that her dad is super against her spending time with this family. Long story short, Katie starts hanging out with the wrong group of people to earn money to pay for his Parkinson medication. And he ends up taking his own life, so that she can stop doing that and stop having to worry about him. So she ends up being a part of this family through different circumstances. And she becomes like their bait to bait men into giving her secrets and things that people that they're targeting as a mob. And so her nickname becomes Kate Bait. And I felt the same way. I can't believe that she allowed him from the time that he kidnapped her at the end of book one. Um, I felt like, and she found out everything that was going on, that I felt like that name should have been, you know, because
Yeah.
that's the point when she told herself that she was going to stop being the bait, that she wasn't going to do that anymore.
Yeah. Just the whole Kate Bates. Yeah. Not here for it. And you know what else I don't like, and I feel like we've talked about a pregnancy trope. Oh, I despise a pregnancy trope.
Why?
I don't know because literally that's the only thing that could save this plot. Like it's the only thing that could save this plot, so much so that that's how
Mm-hmm.
bad the plot was, in my opinion. Again,
You mean as far as the
they would have never
character
been
going into a
together. They would
different,
have
yeah,
never figured it out had she not
yeah.
got pregnant. They would have
But you
never
don't
figured it
feel
out.
like that's, I was a single mom at one time. I got pregnant when I was 19. I had my child at 20. And I think most people that have kids young will tell you that that child was the one that like saved them in a way, the one that allowed them to figure out what they wanted in life, or the one that made them get their stuff together so that they're not continuing the same cycle. So you don't feel like that's a real life thing?
Yeah, if it was just saving her and not making her have a relationship, like that's like that. I'm not saying that. I think in particular her, because she was so passionate about the trafficking and stuff, she'd been a great parent. If she would have just got pregnant anyway, it'd been great. But like that's literally the only way the two people could have got together was her
Yeah.
pregnancy. That was the only way for them to like decide like, hey, let's fight the issue together instead of fight each other about the issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they I that's why I despise a pregnancy trope. It's not the singleness of the mother or the changing of the character, because that all makes sense. But
Hmm.
like this is the only reason they were in a relationship. That's the
Yeah.
part that doesn't make sense. Like, had there been no baby, y'all would have never figured that out.
I disagree with that though. I keep looking up there, guys, because my snake is really, I have pet snakes. And she is really trying to figure out how to get out up there. And I'm trying to make sure that top doesn't open.
You'll just have to go save her.
um, I know, and she's the one that has actually gotten out before. So I actually have like reinforcements around it. I don't want to get off subject, but that's why I keep looking off to the top corner over there. I don't necessarily feel like that. I feel like she pressured Rome. I won't say pressured. Rome never wanted her to be a part of this family and a part of his life. And I don't really think that he would have seen himself in any relationship, not just with her, but in any relationship, had they not kept coming together. I think the baby was what solidified it, but he was actually being a little crazy about her before the baby ever came along. Like from the time before when he kidnapped her, they didn't know she was pregnant. And he
Yeah,
kidnapped her to save her.
I don't think that they don't have love for each other. I just think they might have been, like fucked up and never like figured it out
Got their stuff
officially,
together.
like what the official arrangement was going to be, because she had said that she would marry Bastion
Hmm.
for the sake of being able to run an undivided empire amongst the
Yeah.
families, and she honestly couldn't really see a way outside of that and wasn't really trying to figure out another way. I don't want to say she was taking the easiest option, but she was kind of like the easier option, like this is going to work. Let's just do this and get it over with. And he even like when they were about to tell the families that she was pregnant, and he had that dilemma about where he's supposed to stand. Is it on
Yeah.
her side or on the other side? It just feels like, I don't know, the baby was a cure-all for a situation that they were not mature enough to figure out on their own. And maybe that's the point. The baby matured them. I don't know. I'm just telling you I don't
Yeah.
like pregnancy tropes because it feels flimsy to me. It's like when stories can be undone with a cell phone. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just why didn't
So
y'all just
I
call and
feel,
say the killer's coming? It's just
yeah,
same thing.
I feel two ways about that because I think in my initial read through of it, because this is my second read through, when you read through something again, you always see things you did in the first time.
Mm-mm.
I think in my first read through of it, I felt the same way that like Howard, because I don't like toxicity. Some people feel like that toxicity is exciting to them and like that shows that they have spark and stuff like that. I don't like that. Like, so Bastion would have been my choice because he was, even though he was the mob boss and he had his own issues,
He
he
was
was not toxic
level-headed.
at all. Yeah, like he was level headed. He wasn't trying to, I don't even feel like, because Katie's big thing was that Bastion always didn't, she liked Rome for the fact that he allowed her to have the choice in who she was going to be with, how she was going to act, those types of things, I feel like. But Bastion didn't really give her, or says, because I don't feel like he didn't give her a choice. He just didn't say those words. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
when he was
he
asking
wasn't he
Rome, was
wasn't
she
as much
untouchable?
pressure.
Yeah, when he was
Sure.
when he was asking Rome, was she an untouchable? It wasn't taking the choice away from Katie. It was telling Rome to step up. That's just not how Katie saw it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like y'all know y'all like each other. Why are you not stepping up and just claiming her if you know that's what she would also want? But Kay didn't see it that way. And so I honestly don't feel like the having the baby solved their issues. I feel like they still have issues. They just have a baby together now. Um,
And hence why I hate a pregnancy trope because
yeah.
that feeling is still left over. Like there are other stories that we have read where it's like enemies to lovers type situation. Not that that's
Mm-hmm.
what they were at all. I don't feel like they were
Yeah.
enemies to lovers. Maybe it's me, but I pray a love like that never finds me. But
Yeah. No, I don't like it either.
like the lack of maturity in figuring it out, it just I don't know. I didn't find it compelling. Again, I don't think this is a bad story. I think it's good for like people who read those kinds of stories, especially for a short story.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we can even have a conversation about anything or anything related to character development for a short story, good to go.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this was like a hard 3.5 stars for me.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
think
hate
I would
it.
actually give it the same thing. I didn't love it like some books, but it was something I didn't mind reading again, the second
Yeah.
time around. So
If it was a movie, I could watch the movie. I would still be a little like that about it, but like I could get through it.
I'm trying
But
to
I
think of a
didn't
movie
finish,
that
so
I
you got to
felt
tell me
like
what
that
happened.
about where it was okay. So what part did you get to? What was the last thing you remember?
The pretty much the last thing was she had told Ivan that she was having a baby, and he was like, "I can't bless it," and she was like, "Yeah, you can't be in them meetings no more." Ivan is her granddad. I did enjoy her killing her uncle because I was like, if she don't kill him, he's gonna kill her for
Yeah.
sure. So I enjoyed her killing her uncle. What does that say about me? But
I feel like we have to explain what happened leading up to this. So in the first book, Katie is working for the Italian mob, which is Rome, Sebastian or Bastion. I don't know if Rome is his
Cade,
full name. Cade, and
Mario,
Dante and
and Mario.
Mario. So Bastion is taking over for his dad, who is Mario, but Mario actually took Katie under his wing against all the younger guys, opinions about it because they really wanted to keep her separate because they all pretty much cared about her. So by the second book, we see them going to a ball, and Katie is supposed to be the bait for another mob who apparently is now working with government officials. So they're trying to
Not a
bait more
mob though, are
information out of
they?
that.
The Brafia, is that what it is?
Bratva, yeah, but
Bratva.
yeah,
My bad.
Bratva.
Bratva.
So the Russian Bratva. Long story short, we find out Katie was raised by her dad, who is Jamaican, but they never looked into who her mom was. It turns out the mom was the daughter of the Bratva boss. So Katie has Russian ties, and nobody knew that up until, or they didn't think anybody knew that up until now. So in the second book, we see Rome and her. Rome actually overheard a conversation, and he kidnapped her from that. And it's basically saying, we need some time to figure this out. So by the second book, it shows her going to the Bratva, which is, a rival, and basically trying to take over, trying to see what it is that her blood claims in that. So you picked up after Ivan was actually kind of grooming her to become the boss of the Bratva, but I think she had false hope that Ivan had hope in her when that was not the case. Ivan just wanted to continue his bloodline in the strongest way
Very
possible.
much like a king on a throne.
Yeah. So he didn't trust his son, and his son apparently could not have children or never got
Yeah, he
married.
couldn't
It was
have
something.
children.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he killed the sister, right?
Yes, because the sister had a child, and I think he was jealous of that because that was the one thing he could not do is continue the bloodline. So Ivan just basically was just finding whoever was his next of kin. He didn't care who it was going to be, but he was pressuring Katie to get with Bastion because he was the head of another mafia. So he felt
Exactly.
like their families together could build something that nobody's ever had before. So by the time he found out she was pregnant and it wasn't Bastion's baby, he was pissed. Long story short, Tashee, at the end of the book, Ivan is pissed that she kept the baby. He actually attempted to kill the baby.
I know. I saw.
Um,
I saw. I read the part where he put the gun to her stomach, but
yeah.
something happened after that too.
He walked out of that situation, and I don't think she thought it was okay, but she ended up proving her. Did you get to the part where one of the Bratva members, after signing all those agreements, ended up actually still trafficking?
Oh no, I didn't get that far. Literally the last part I left off on was her sending the text message like that. Uh, Ivan is not allowed in meetings no more. He gonna take care of
Yeah.
himself.
Okay, so in her trying to take over for herself, She found out that some of the Bratva members were still trafficking and bringing in like truckloads of women and children for trafficking. And long story short, she brings the Bratva together, and it was a real testament to whether or not they were going to allow her to lead, because they allowed her to take out that person who has been a family member of theirs. And the same thing happened with Ivan at the end. Ivan was not trafficking, but Ivan kidnapped Rome and tried to have him killed and basically lured Katie out. And what he thought the Bratva was going to do was take Katie out for him, but they ended up taking Ivan out for Katie, because Katie was like, since I've been leading, your families have been fed. I just bought your mom a new house. Your kid, I just saved his life and set him up in rehab, like all this good stuff that she was doing for the city and for her family, or for her Bratva now that's her family. So it ended up, they took Ivan out for her, which he was dying anyway. He had
Dementia.
Alzheimer's or something.
Early onset dementia. Yeah. I don't think it was bad. Me not liking it is not like the same as it sucking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
I
more
get what
like
you're saying. You just wouldn't read it again.
yeah, it just wasn't. If I had nothing else to read, I'd read it again. It's definitely not one of the worst stories I've ever read.
Yeah.
Especially after I read that Morning Glory Milk and Farm situation. Like I've read some
I
pretty
don't know if I'm gonna read
questionable
that one unless you just make me. It just sounds wild.
You would read it. It's only like 200 pages.
Oh,
And it's actually like a decent story. I think listening to it on Audible is like 5 hours, 6 hours. It's nothing crazy. Like it's not nothing crazy at all.
So if you had to choose between the men in this book, who would have been, like all of them, who would have been your choice?
Harley Bastion.
Yeah, I think it would have been Dante for me. Yeah.
With Dante being a close second, but he wasn't. I felt like Bastion at least had some type of like chemistry with her. Dante always kind of gave somewhere between brother and father.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me of like from Blood and Ash when Victor was teaching her how to, I don't know, that always feels real fatherly. Like when people are teaching you defensive things. I don't know. Maybe it's because of everything else I already read, but like that's the kind of vibe I got from it.
Yeah. I think I like Dante for that reason, though. I think I like him because he was one of the people that actually wanted her to become who she was fully going to become. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't trying to protect her too much in the way that he wanted to keep her away from it, but he wanted to show her how to take care of herself since she was going to be in these situations anyway.
I liked the other dude from the Bratva too, that she made her friend like on the first night when she killed Ivan and the other guy.
Yes. What is his name?
It starts with the M. I can't think of it. I want to call him Merlin, but again, so much.
No, I'll find it. But yeah, he was nice too. And he ended up being a good ally of hers and also still pushing her to be, who she was going to be and make sure she's taken care of.
So after her dad died, she had all these different instances. She was definitely a woman surrounded by men, like uncomfortably so. She had all these different instances, though, of like, for lack of a better term, fatherly figures. Mario, Ivan, the M dudes that I can't think of his name right now. Who do you think had her best interest? And who do you think was worse out of Mario and Ivan?
I don't feel like either were worse out of Mario and Ivan. I think both of them were equally toxic, because I feel like the things that Mario did in making sure that she went to a home that she was going to be trafficked from and ended up coming back to the family, and hiding the fact that he knew who her mom was and all of that. Ivan would have done the same thing. He just didn't know early enough to do those things. You know what I mean?
I also think it was important that Ivan kind of said, like when he was talking about her mom and what happened, and he was like, "You're looking at me like that, but I grew up like this," like he was like, "You're like an outsider coming into this, but this is how I grew up." So I think it's important to note with Ivan and Mario that they grew up in criminal organizations with expectations, and not just criminal organizations. They grew up with the expectation to lead criminal organizations. So they always knew that they're going to have to make hard choices, and sometimes they're going to suck. So I'm not justifying. I'm just saying I can see how they can reason that out. where it's okay.
Yeah,
Like, like justify, yes, yes, it sucks. Yes, it's wrong, but it's her or all of us. And
yeah.
if one person can stand the hit for the other 600 of us to survive, that's what we're going to do.
But I do think that the big difference between the two, just like we discussed in Ruthless Boys between Dante and Ryder, is that Mario actually had some type of loyalty to his family and his blood. I feel like Bastion and Rome and all of them got away with things that Ivan would have never let his kids or cousins or nieces or nephews get away with because he didn't care who was blood related to him. He just cared if they were going to get the job done. You know what I mean?
One thing I feel like is important to note between Ivan and Mario is I think Mario had genuine love for Katie. Like, because
Yeah.
before he did what he had to do, well, I mean, what he had to do, but like before he had her in the trafficking situation, he did tell her dad to go ahead and sign over rights. And when he passed away, she would just be a part of the family. Who's to say what
Yeah.
that trajectory could have been at that moment? Her dad didn't do it. And honestly, I kind of blame her dad a little bit too, because I get that she wasn't doing what he thought she should be doing or hanging out with the wrong crowd, but what did killing himself do except put her into foster care faster?
I don't think her dad thought that all the way through. I mean,
No.
obviously, I also think that he was suffering, and part of him wanting to take his life, yes, it had to do with saving Katie, but also he was suffering anyway. Um, and even with the medication, I mean, there's no way to actually stop that progression. So I don't think he thought that all the way through. Already seeing the direction that she was heading, I don't understand why he felt like taking him away was going to deter her from falling for these people or moving towards these people
Or not
again.
trigger her to fall deeper into it. Oh,
Yeah.
this is totally unrelated, but I feel like I have to say this while we're here. Did you notice on our YouTube channel, as we've been posting, that we've been getting comments from somebody?
I have.
Yeah. So I feel like we should shout them out just because. His story has been really paying attention to Ruthless Boys, and I just feel like we should acknowledge that.
Yeah.
So hopefully you see this one too. Shout out to you. But back to the book. Sorry, I had to do that while I was thinking about it.
No, I appreciate that.
ADHD.
I do believe that Mario cared about her, to your point. I don't think Ivan cared about her. I just think he wanted to continue his
Means
bloodline.
to an end for sure.
Yeah. But I don't think Ivan knew how to care about people in a way that didn't also damage them a little bit. And even his own kids and nieces and nephews said the same thing. It just wasn't in the way that Katie was damaged by
Yeah,
that
and
love or that
I
care.
mean, I could see how being in that position, you have to constantly be assessing people, not just
Yeah.
like not just like potential for like direct family members, but like who's going to be an enemy and who's squirming, like all that kind of stuff. Can you? Because he said Ivan was on drugs. How you going to lead the brothel on drugs? I
Yeah.
mean, we expect you to be a drunk, but not a druggie. Like wrong
Yeah.
D.
There was definitely a lot going on in this book for it to only have been 2 books, even from the point that we start out at to the point of her getting kidnapped in the first book. Like, we hear that conversation, but we don't see anything else until he kidnaps her and is putting stuff together at the same time we're putting stuff together, you know? Like, we don't get any more insight. And I do know that there's some spinoffs, but there's not another spinoff that tells the backstory of this story, you know?
Yeah. I'm really sad that she got those words tattooed on her.
Why?
Because it was whack? What you
But to her,
mean?
it meant something.
She should have got it in another language or something.
Yeah.
You'll live because if not, you'll die. Like, okay. So will everybody else?
Yeah.
I mean, I get that it had more meaning, but still, like, the way she described her other tattoo, it sounded like epic. And then she added those basic words. Because no, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be funny, but like, in my opinion, there is nothing about Rome that was just like swoon worthy. Like, he didn't have great words. He was very much fuck you and leave.
Yeah.
Like I get that like he was the most constant thing in her life in a way,
Yeah.
like, but also
I think that Rome had a savior complex because of the fact that he was the one that showed up even when she didn't necessarily expect him to show up and kind of save the day. Like, in the beginning, when he came and while everybody else was acting like not a big deal was going on with her dad, he was the one that was telling her, you know, I know this is coming, but you're strong. Calling her Cleo when he called her Cleo for Cleopatra, and them sharing those, even the few text messages they shared over the
And
years or
letters, they
letters.
did write each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah, I think those moments though, it wasn't about what he said in the letters. It was or it being swoon worthy or anything like that. It was the fact that this is another person that feels my pain or has felt my pain or some type of pain that I can relate to. And this person is actually trying to relate to me in the only way that they know how. But also he was trying to protect her and keeping her away from it because he kept
Oh,
trying to
when
tell
I say
her,
that, I mean like as a
yeah,
book character, not to
no,
Katie.
yeah.
I get the connection with Katie. I'm just saying if he was gonna be Ryder, which he is not, he's
No, I
not
don't think
Ryder,
so.
you know? Like
Yeah.
that's all I was getting at. But overall, like
Yeah.
I said, 3.5 stars for me. It sounds like you're at 3.5 too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it wasn't a book that I was just in love with, but I do think it was a good break from in between. At that time, I wasn't reading Zodiac Academy. I was reading something else, and I just needed a breather from it. I just needed something in the middle. So,
Great palate cleanser. I'm gonna agree with that.
yeah.
Because we have Zodiac Academy coming up, and we're probably gonna be there a couple of
Yeah.
months. Actually, about 4, maybe longer.
I am excited because this will be my first read of some of the novellas in between the
Oh,
main
that's exciting.
books. So the only one that was a novella, which really wasn't a novella, was 8.5 that I read. So this will be my first time reading some of the things.
It'll actually be more novellas than that. There's the listed novellas, so we'll have okay, because let's go over it all. We're gonna have Zodiac Academy, but then we're gonna have From the Boys included in
Mm-hmm.
there, and that's like a whole nother book, like 8.5. Then we'll have The Big Ass Party,
Mm-hmm.
that'll be included in there. Then we'll have Origins of an Academy Bully, that'll be in there. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's like little reverse ones. Oh, there's the ones with the bonus scenes for Long Live Lionel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll be here a while. You guys will
Yeah.
be here a while. We'll be here a while together. It'll
And
be fun.
maybe I know that we discussed that bringing some things kind of in between, or maybe when we get to a certain point where we think maybe you need a little breather, because it's a lot. It was even a lot for us reading, and I
Yeah,
read all of these up to what was it 8, like
I
back to
think
back because
7.
I didn't start reading. What I did not know is that these books didn't even start being written or published until what 2019.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2024, and we're just finishing up the series, and this has been what, 14 books plus the
And
spinoff
between 7
series.
and 8 was pretty much the only time that it was like a year between the books.
Yeah,
So like,
that's pretty amazing.
yeah. Something to be said about being an independent writer, an indie
Yeah.
writer, and how you can get stuff out that way. With that being said, never keep the hardbacks had a publication problem or something, so
Hmm.
we can only do the ebook and the Audible that's coming out in 2 weeks, the 24th. What was I going to say? They're actually releasing another novella that's Zodiac Academy related because of that. So again, we continue to expand. I'm honestly thinking that puts us at about 16-ish books just for Zodiac Academy.
Yeah. I think
If I
that's
had to
pretty
go.
awesome because they had those 16 books. Like I said, we just did 5 for Ruthless Boys, and then there's another spinoff that's a sequel that's 4 books. So that's like 20 plus books in 5 years.
Yeah, and that's not including the other books that they have because you have
Yeah.
you didn't finish it, but I did.
Kings of Quarantine.
Kings of Quarantine, the Harlequin Crew.
Hmm.
So I did read their Mafia romance, and I kind of liked it. It wasn't like super great, but it was like a one and done situation.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah.
I read one of those. I didn't read the second one. I read the
Yeah.
one this dang, what are they called? Society of Psychos. I
Hmm.
personally loved it. It was hilarious. They were killers too, and they
Yeah.
were like part of the Irish mob. Great book. Loved it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
clearly we'll be with them for a while, but we hope to be bringing some stuff in between time.
I definitely think we
Um,
should cover Immortal Dark. It was pretty good.
yeah, I was going to ask you about that. That's good.
Yeah. Vampires. This girl's sister goes missing, and they've been on the run. They're part of these. It's 80 families, I believe, that are like specifically designed to give vampires blood, and they have them like assigned to the house and such. Anyway, the sister goes missing, so the other sister is looking for her. The only way she can do it is by going to the school because it turns out that their aunt has sold them out to a vampire, and she tortures her aunt and kills her. And now she has she's got a pending case, and if she goes to the school, she inherits some money, but also she can search for her sister. And while some of the houses have like hundreds of vampires, 200, 12, blah blah blah, she has one. But he's also like the scariest vampire to anybody, and they don't get along. You know,
I might have to pick that. How long is it, or how many hours is it?
I think 11, but I'm listening to. Okay, so don't judge. I'm listening to everything. Today I went up to 2.5, but
I do not understand how you do that.
Yeah, when I was trying to get through the book so we could actually do the pod today, I was listening to books at like 2 to 2.5 speed. I'm normally about 1.5. 1.5 is way more tolerable.
So I listened to this one in 1.5, and even that was like, wait a minute, where are we?
Yes.
And what's crazy is my husband says that I actually talk fast, especially when I'm excited about something. So he was like, you talk like that anyway, but no, I don't. I can't listen. I can't listen that fast. I don't understand. I do get trying to get through it for sure though.
I can listen that fast when I have headphones on. It can't be like, I listen to books like out in the open like this sometimes too, like music, but it can't be past like 1.5, especially if I'm like working or something. Yeah. But like if I have my headphones on and it's like everything is shut out, yeah, I can do 2.5, easy.
Yeah.
They go up to 3 and I'm just like, bruh, sometimes I have to rewind, like, what word did you say?
I don't know how you do it. I did 1.5, and that's fast for me. But that's just because I was trying to, because we were supposed to be reading this and Zodiac Academy 1. Well, I finished Zodiac Academy 1 and I was like, I can't stop now. So I went to 2. When I really should have been reading this again. So then I had to.
I haven't even started Zodiac Academy, but I told you I'm going to do the graphic audio. You know what? Yeah. I think you guys should listen with us too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would be fun, but I don't really have anything else, do you?
I do not. I am going to make a commitment to actually read something outside of these, so I'll have something to tell you guys next time. I know we still want to discuss our art coming up, so we'll have that coming soon for you guys. So I will reread that, but I'm gonna get back on it.
I don't believe you. It's football season.
It is football season, but I'm gonna try. It's a lot. Who knew I'd be this mom? I'm the only woman in the house.
It fits. You have snakes.
I mean,
and spiders and chickens and dogs. Is it cats too?
All my business. No, I gave away the cat.
No, I mean, no judgment. You just got a mini zoo. You probably could, charge for a petting zoo sometimes.
I don't know if I have enough for a petting zoo. I do have. So
I do. I know you have enough for a petting zoo.
What am I at? 14 animals total. But I did start a little side business. I'm so excited about my bunny brews. My husband calls it shit tea, and that's actually what it is. It's bunny poop. It's fertilizer. So I started that for all of my plant girlies and guys. Yeah, shit tea, but I'm excited about it.
People get excited about a lot of shit. You just have
as long as something can feed these people, or things. But yeah, I'm going to do better. So next week we will be talking about Zodiac Academy. We'll officially be embarking on that. Sorry, next episode. And I think that's all we got for you guys.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Comment. We like engaging with people. I know we're a little slow responding, but between football and vacations, what do you expect from us? We'll do better this time, but it's been too literal.
See you guys next time.
Bye.